I'm sorry it's a little bit late, but we're doing a blood rose tutorial today using a flexi thumb and the TX Elite coffin tips. They come in a pack of 600 for less than £10, so they are a bargain, and I will put the link in the description box. I'm going to go with about a size 1, even though it's a bit big for this, but I think I can just trim it because the size 2 was a bit small. So yeah, we'll go with a size 1. I'm going to use my adhesive and then pop the tip on. So you guys asked for a blood rose. I'm going to do it one way today. I was going to try and film 2 different ways, but time just ran away with me and I wasn't able to get 2 done. So I thought I'm going to upload this one and get it out to you. And I do appreciate your patience as well. I'm just going to pop a thin clear base down before I file or adjust the tip because they wobble about in these practice fingers as it is. So I'd rather just have it nice and secure and in place before I do any filing. While you're watching me pop that on, I just want to thank you for your patience. You know, Oliver is still home full-time, not in normal school. And that is going to be for the foreseeable future while he has some special sessions set up at specialist education for children with autism. So at the moment, he's safe, he's well, and you know, we're just working through things at home, but it just means I'm falling behind on my filming because obviously I've still got to run the brand and pack all your orders. So obviously I've let this cure or set, I guess, polymerize and set into place. And then I'm just going to take those little wings off. To be fair, I could have cut them down before I put them on. I didn't think about it. I could have just trimmed them in before I put them on. Silly of me not to, really. But my head was all over the place because I just had a really, really long meeting when I filmed this. So I'm just tightening up the shape. But as you can see, these coffin tips they're perfectly pinched and they have a beautiful taper to them. So colours I'm using are Nailmate's Houdini for the black base. And obviously this is a long nail, so I'm going to do it in sections. I'm trying to work as thin as possible, which means sometimes I might need to go back and add a little bit more. But I'd rather that than have it too thick because we've got a lot to go on in this nail. So I'll work as thin as I can, and then if there's any bits that look a bit wishy-washy, I'll just top them up with a bit of colour. But Houdini is nice. It's a black, but it's got this shimmer to it, which means it flows really nicely as a black. It's not chalky, and it's not sticky or chalky. It flows really nicely, and it's just sorry, it's just a beautiful colour. I don't know what I'm doing there. Oh yeah, I was cleaning my brush before I put it back in my monomer. You've got to be so careful with coloured acrylic. Do not contaminate your monomer, especially as it seems really hard to get hold of any at the moment. I will be doing a hard gel video next, and I have some gel to show you from Dorota Politska. She sent me a little parcel. So I'm going to show you that as well. That'll be my next video. I also have some bits from La Sente to show you, some bits from Madame Glam. I've got so much to show you. And I'm going to unbox the February box and show you that. I've got so much to show you. Don't forget the February box is live on the website. And it is limited stock as always. So I'm just going to pat out the back of that bead and then paint it. You're working thin with it like paint. You just need enough pigment to cover the nail and get what you need out of it. You don't need it thick. It's not structure. It's purely colour. We're just here for the pigment, honeys. So I'm going to let you watch me do this little bit here and I'll catch you back in a sec. So we'll let that set up and we're going in with Ringmaster, which is a red, but it's a sparkly red. And I'm just going to use my size 4 Kolinsky from TMBL. I've had that ages. To be honest, it's getting a bit splayed out now, a bit old. I need a new one. So look at the bead as it changes. And then once it mattifies, then you can push it out. So you'll see it polymerize. It will go from kind of like a blob to a bead, nice and smooth, and then it will start to mattify. That's when you press it out. That's when you're going to get those beautiful crinkles from your bristles. Now, because we're encapsulating, you need to go as thin as you can. As thin as you can and as flat to the nail as you can. If you want a more... if you want more black showing in between the petal layers, then just make the beads, like increase the distance between the beads. It all depends on personal preference as to what you want. But I'm going to join the second bead to this first bead. And also some people like to work in like a spiral of a flower. Some people just layer loads and loads of beautiful petals. Please just go with what you like and also what you feel you can do. It doesn't matter. Nature doesn't replicate itself perfectly every time, does it? It has variations. That's the beauty of art as well. So as you can see, I'm completely out of shot right now, but all I'm doing is pressing out the leaves, the petals even. And then I'm going to get in the middle and do a slightly smaller. I was trying to explain what I'm going to do here, but Oliver was making loads of noise, so I've had to voice it over. But basically what I was saying, I'm going to take the next bead and I'm going to make it smaller, and then I'm going to interlink it to the previous bead and get that sort of spiral effect going. Not a perfect spiral because I don't feel it would look like a real flower, but I'm just joining it to the last bead. So if I wanted more black in between my leaves, my petals, petals, not leaves, I would have brought that second one further into the centre to make the gap bigger. And then I'll just keep doing the same. The beads get smaller. There's no point moving them until they start to mattify because they kind of just flop back. Like an unruly toddler that you're trying to get into a car seat. We've all been there. If you haven't been there, you're lucky. It's not a pretty sight, to be fair. So we're just going to, bring it in and further in as it goes into the centre and kind of create a bit of a spiral with it. You can do this. This is the other way I was going to show you. You can do this with white acrylic on a black background and then use like a jelly gel over the top before you top coat. Now, that's good. That's a good way to do it because it means you don't have to mess about with coloured acrylic. But if you don't have a jelly gel, you could simply mix a base coat with some red gel polish from the same brand to kind of make it a jelly gel. But I like using red acrylic. I love red acrylic. I know so many people are like, oh, red nails. I think they're so beautiful. They're so sexy. I love red nails. I love black nails. I love nails. I just love nails. As you can see on this last one, I've really got my brush upright and I'm kind of like bringing it into a spiral in the centre just to make the centre of the flower. This is the fiddly bit. Really, really fiddly. But it's well worth it. Well worth doing. Just take your time with it. It'll all be good. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to do a couple of little petals coming off as if they're falling off the flower, because I think one thing on the nail is not enough. There's not enough balance of design, so you need some other bits for people to look at. So I've popped a couple of little blobs of acrylic there, and I'm just going to make some little petals as if they're kind of coming off the flower. Keep them nice and flat to the nail. And you could do as many of those as you want. You could do a trail coming down. You could do some, I don't know, little swirls if you wanted. Whatever you want, some ribbon. As long as it's thin enough for you to encapsulate it, it will be really, really easy to do. So now it's all set, I'm going to just wet my brush with my monomer and tap it in and around the flower and around the nail, because when I apply my cap layer of clear acrylic, I don't want any frosty areas, which would be caused if it's very dry. So if it's nice and wet, the bead will just sort of soak in and around the flower, and that's what we want. So my first bead will be a lot wetter, and I will just kind of like paint it on over the top. So I'm tapping the back of it, and I'm just focusing on the flower for now, and I'm brushing it through, just getting it all in there. That's my first bead done. I became aware that I might have a bit of trouble with the side of this nail later on, because I did go over a little bit, but we can file it in. And then I'm just going to encapsulate the rest of the nail. Like I said, the first beads are a little bit wetter, and then I'll go in and start making sure the structure's down and the nail's nice and even. But first of all, it was just about making sure I don't end up with any frosting, because that's just so annoying when that happens. If you're struggling with acrylic and things like that, I do a skill building masterclass through a private group, and it's very useful, very, very handy. I also do the same with hard gel as well. And I've got an acrylic sculpting course. These are skill building courses, so they're a lot more cost effective than kind of big accredited courses. If you're already qualified and you just need to up your game a little bit and you'd rather do it from the comfort of your home, I would advise that. I'm also thinking of doing, now that I really don't know, let's hope the COVID situation's a little bit more contained, shall we? It's probably not, but if it is, I'm thinking of doing some group courses, and I would like to know if that's something you'd be interested in. So comment below and let me know if you're here in the UK. The filing footage for this was corrupted, and so was the bloody top coating footage. So here's the finished result. I apologise for that. I couldn't do anything about that file. It was completely kaput. I really hope you've liked this video. Please check out the description box for all the links and information. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.